Thank you, Honourable Speaker, sir. I beg to move that the total provision of 2,570 crores, 36 lakhs and 2,000 under the Grant 21, Major Head 2202, General Education at page 226 of the budget be reduced to rupee 1. That is the amount of the whole grant of 2,570 crores, 36 lakhs, 2,000 do stand reduced to rupee 1, sir.
Motion moved. Now you may initiate discussion.
Thank you, sir. So time and again we have been raising issues relating to the Education Department right from the day that this budget session had commenced. We had raised issues relating to the Education Department while we participated in the Governor's address, also with the Chief Minister in charge of Finance address. And today too, sir, I would just like to flag the issues before the Honourable Minister Education so that we get satisfied with the replies. There were replies mostly made during the question hours, and therefore, sir, today we thought we will discuss a little bit at length about the functioning of the Education Department and the condition of the schools, buildings, and the situations that prevail, that is prevailing with the Education Department, sir. So first of all, I would like to remind the Honourable Minister, while defraying the amount of 2,570 crores, I hope the government and the department will remember to pay the salary of the SSA teachers. This is a big concern. The replies that we got from the Honourable Minister saying that within 2 months we would like to assist and release certain amount of salary to the SSA teacher is welcome. But sir, I think the SSA teachers deserve more than that because they have been waiting for months for their pending dues to be paid. That is the first issue where I would like the Honourable Minister to kindly assure the House as to a regular payment of salary to the SSA teachers. Secondly, sir, we had also flagged the issue relating to payment of the head teachers under the RMSA. So the RMSA are state-funded teachers, and they are the head teachers. Now, how can a principal and a teacher be paid at par? Therefore, I request that this may kindly be also examined. Then we go to the fourth teachers, where their salary is also at par, may kindly be made at par with the SSA teachers. The Honourable Minister is well informed about the conditions and the situation. I need not go into the details. The only thing is, while we consider this cut motion today, we would like a few assurances from the Minister in this regard too. Pension benefits, sir, for the deficit teachers as per the 5th Pay Commission recommendation may kindly be considered. It's time that government may kindly consider the benefits for those teachers who have retired. Most of the teachers have retired, and most of the teachers have passed away without enjoying the benefits of their retirements. Therefore, sir, I feel that the amount of 3.75 lakhs, whatever is being paid, is too meager for somebody who has served throughout his life and who has been a nation builder, I should say. I request the government to kindly consider the 5th pay recommendation to all these pensioners under the deficit school teachers who have retired. Then, sir, I come to the most important thing, which the Honourable Chief Minister also had agreed that perhaps some amount would be earmarked for repair of the government LP school buildings. I would really appreciate if the commitment made by the Honourable Chief Minister turns out into reality, because there are many schools in every constituency which have roofs been blown, who have got windows broken, doors broken. We see cattle lying on the veranda of the schools. So therefore, I think this atmosphere is really not conducive for the teachers and for the students as well. Therefore, I request that the minister may kindly give an assurance where repairs of the government school buildings, both the LP and the primary, the LP and the upper primary may kindly be considered. Sir, the next is the residential schools. So residential schools were constructed throughout the state by the previous government, and when the present government came, all these schools have become a standstill because I think no money has been earmarked to continue to complete these school buildings. Come what may, sir, I think we would like to see.
Honourable member, please take a seat. It's now 2 o'clock. In exercise of the Rule 11 of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business, I will extend the House for voting on demands for grants till 2:20, and then till item number 5, which is obituary reference, is being disposed of. You may continue.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, sir. So therefore, sir, relating to the residential schools, I would like to request the department concerned to kindly earmark certain money where these buildings may be completed. How the schools are to be run and how who would be running the schools perhaps can be taken up as a decision by the government, but at least we would like to see the structure coming up and the school buildings being completed, sir. Then we come to the Eklavya Model Residential School, sir. So this EMRA school was much talked about till last year. We heard so much from the Honourable Chief Minister that so many schools have been considered by the central government, and then now suddenly everything is silent in this sector. We would like to know from the Honourable Minister how many schools are actually under construction, and what about the rest, and who is going to take up this construction work, because initially we heard that this whole work is going to the Manipur Industrial Development Corporation. Then later on, I guess the state government had written to the central government, and now we would like to know the status as to who is going to construct these schools and what are the status of the schools. Sir, then I have another issue relating to the enhancement of the salary of the part-time lecturers of Kiang Nangba College in Joai, sir. So this is very serious. I got a lot of representations from the teachers, sir. They are being paid a meager 5,000 rupees to teach in a college. So the enrollment of this college only in the morning session is beyond 1,200 students. And therefore, sir, for these teachers to really cater to the classes of 1,200 students at the cost of rupees 5,000 is something unimaginable, sir. We should respect at least the dignity of these lecturers. 5,000, I think even a driver, a private driver would not come to serve or to work for anybody at the cost of 5,000 rupees. These lecturers are all postgraduates. They deserve respect, they deserve dignity. Therefore, sir, I want the government to take immediate action on this by enhancing their salary, sir. Sir, the last issue which I'd like to mention to the Honourable Minister Education is relating to the irregularities of the teachers in the rural areas. I must say, sir, every member in this house will agree to what I'm saying, is because in the rural areas, you will not find any of these government-appointed teachers going and serving in those schools. It is sad to note, sir, I have repeatedly complained this issue on every session, that either the inspector of school or the DI of school should conduct surprise inspections of the schools, because these teachers have outsourced their job or their duties to somebody at the local level, sir. They have no authority to do that, sir. Now we have gone to the level of recruiting MTET qualified teachers, sir. Now, sir, how can a teacher outsource his duty to somebody, sir? This is very serious, and the government has to take up very seriously. Some penal action has to be taken on these teachers who outsource their duties to somebody else. So there is no interest. If such people have no interest to serve, they should resign and let somebody who has interest go and serve our people in the rural areas, sir. So with these few words, I resume my seat, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, I rise to support the cut motion as moved by the Honourable Member from Mawson Ram. Few concerns, sir. Sir, the current endeavour of the government to renovate and repair most of the government schools is well appreciated. And sir, few more schools need to be included under the current targets, sir. One is the Lom Siap Government LP School, sir. And another one is the Mauthe Government LP School. These two schools are in very dilapidated conditions. And considering the enrollment and the need of the service of the school, so I request for the attention of the department to these two schools. So, during the question hour, we could be informed that the government is looking towards Ribhoi being part of the aspirational districts, that they will be thinking of a model college. I reiterate my request, sir, for ensuring that the Eastern Ribhoi region should be looked at in order to ensure that a model college is being provided, considering the number of feeder secondary schools and feeder high secondary schools, sir. So the Block Resource Center for under Bharumbong Block, that is also pending. Because of perhaps the pandemic, this got delayed. And sir, I also request for more RMSA schools, sir, and secondary schools. And the schools that are already serving in the area, if some of them can be identified as under the RMSA for support and improvement of the infrastructure as well as salaries to the teachers, sir. Sir, it is requested to ensure that the secondary schools be provided with additional computers and internet facilities, because this is what is lacking, sir, in the rural areas. If we are to expose our students and youths to the needs of the current generation and also to the advance in technology and education, sir, computers and internet facilities are the need of the hour. And perhaps if we can target the high secondary and secondary schools as a priority, this will be very, very beneficial to the students to expose them to computer education and literacy, sir. Sir, it is also learned that most of the teacher training centers, that is the diets, they are without principals. So if we may know from the department, sir, as to what is the problems that are being faced by the department in posting the principals in all the diet centers. Sir, the ad hoc school teachers, their problems, I think the government and the department is well aware of. May we know, sir, what steps are being taken in those regard regarding their salaries and the increments. And so for the provisions for the cooks under the midday meals, any relief that can be provided to them, sir, for ensuring that the current emolument of 1,000 rupees that can be increased in order to take into account the high inflation in various living costs. So these are my concerns, sir, and would like to draw the attention of the Honourable Minister through you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Sir, I also rise to discuss and debate about the court motions, which I oppose, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to oppose the court motion brought by the Honourable MLA. In 50 years, many achievement and many progress in terms of literacy rate and development on the other fields had happened, Mr. Speaker, sir. I must thank the Honourable Chief Minister and his government colleague for the special focus on youths who are our future and our economy. I want to thank our Chief Minister for the initiations taken, lots of programs and missions pertaining to the issues of our youths, not only to our youths, but to our women in the state. Much has been said and talked in this very August House, Mr. Speaker, sir, even about the educations. But I would like to draw a few areas of attention which really needed to be looked into seriously. Our Meghalaya has not been able to produce IAS, IPS, IFS, and other administrative central service officers. The sons of our soils, it seems they've been deprived of this right in certain ways. And they have not been able to pass like the competitive exam under the UPAC, like Indian Forest Service, IRS, Indian Forest Service, Foreign Service, and lots of others, Mr. Speaker, sir. In Meghalaya, we have our own institutions which is run by our government itself, MATI, for example, which is located in Shillong only. Though MATI, Meghalaya Administrative Training Institutions, to impart training, coaching to the youths who should have who should have been coached to compete with the other civil service examination. But till that, Mr. Speaker, sir, sadly speaking, this MATI has not produced even a single, officers, civil service officers from within the state. No doubt there are few, like Khasi and Jaintia, who has come out independently on their own, but not this MATI. To my surprise, Mr. Speaker, sir. If I'm wrong, I need to be corrected, Mr. Speaker, sir. But I would like to request our present government, under the leadership of our Chief Minister, that day when we were discussing, he said that we will look into this matter. Since he has already taken up lots of initiations for the youths within the state, I would like to urge upon our government, at least to see these particular situations. So in the future, we will produce our own list of state cadres within the state, Mr. Speaker, sir. These are the areas where we really need to look into. Amongst the Garo, there is only one in 50 years. Amongst the Khasi, maybe around 18, among the Khasi and Jaintia, maybe around 18 to 20 maximum, which they have produced on their own by themselves. But since we have this MATI, I would like to request, give a special attention so that they can deliver a good coaching and a good training so that our future children, our future boys and youths, and then daughters who are dynamic, who are, capable of facing any kind of examinations, any kinds of, issues, at least if they can shape up, I think we will not be needing to bring from the outside the state, Mr. Speaker, sir. Therefore, I would like to urge our government, especially our Chief Minister, who has initiated lots of programs, missions. I would like him to initiate this particular program, and that if this training coach, or maybe if MATI kind of administrative areas can be provided not only in Shillong, even in Joai and then Tura, because our youths are brilliant, intelligent, they are dynamic, so they need a little guidance to face this kind of, to crack the UPSC exams, Mr. Speaker, sir. And then, so in the future, we will be definitely proud of our children who will give us, the fame, the name, and then by whom we will be proud of. Anyway, with these few submissions, I would like to again draw the attention of the government, at least to look at this particular area of educations where our youth can be promoted in the future, Mr. Speaker, sir. If MATI can be placed not only in Shillong, even in Tura, and then even in Joai also. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, sir, I oppose the cut motions brought by the Hima Sangplang, Honorable MLA, and George B. Lingdo, Honorable MLA. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
So I stand to oppose the cut motion moved by the honourable member, sir. So I would like to put forward some of the important points regarding with education. The important point which I would like to get the clarification from the Honourable Minister. In the budget session, even in the discussion of the budget, even the governor address, I've already mentioned about some of important point relating with education. So we are very much happy that the present government, under the dynamic leadership of Mr. Conrad K. Sangma, along with his deputy, President Tensong, and his cabinet colleague, they have many plans to strengthen of the education in the state. But sir, I like to have already said that the government have been focused a lot about the government school and other infrastructure. But for my part, so I urge the Honourable Education Minister, if you can focus about the private school, the private college that we have in the state. I've already been referred in the course of my speech in the last 2-3 days. I mentioned about the private school. So like if all of us, we knew, we are aware that so much of the private school in our state, because of the private school we are like we are today, they have contributing a lot from their part. We understand it is difficult, especially at the time of the COVID-19 lockdown and others, that many of the private schools, they have faced a lot of problem, especially because they depend with the fees of the student. Many students, they cannot pay the fees because the parents, they didn't get they get the work, they get salary, but the fees very difficult. Because of that situation, that many of the teachers, they are not getting a salary in due time. So it is a very particular condition. Even happened in my constituency that many schools, they cannot pay the salary of the teacher because they didn't get they didn't have money with the covenant with the committee and others. They're very difficult. There are some schools even 4-5 months they cannot pay a salary. So for that reason, I urge the Honourable Education Minister, if he can turn the eyes and do something for the private school. The ones he did for the private school, so we understand actually from our side we have to be balanced, because we understand that we have many private schools, many private college, but unless we do something, we feel that even them also they were discouraged because of the no contribution from the side of the government. Because of that reason, I urge the Honourable Education Minister to look after that, look after the private school. But even then, sir, we have the private college. We understand we're talking about a private college. Many that we have, I may say that we have up to 97% of the private college that we have in the state. It is a private college, but we have only very few. We can count even in his own fingers for that private college. But unless the government come forward and do something for them, it is very difficult to survey it, and especially to move ahead in the future. Yes, I know that the Honourable Education Minister have already mentioned that there's some college that the government have already been sponsored and give you one-time grant. But understand, sir, that it will not be enough unless the government supported them in many ways. But in one way, we have to appreciate to the government school and the government college. The government have not been up to the satisfactory of the private school and college. But even then, sir, even then that from the side of the school college, they are supporting the government. Even the time when many of the students, they didn't get admission, but sir, the government college are there to support the government. In that way, sir, actually the government should have been understand how to do something about the private college. But sir, for this amount that the Honourable Minister have been brought about the demand for grant, it is a big amount, and I'm sure like Honourable Minister have already
Honourable
said.
Member, please take a seat. You may continue tomorrow. It's 2:20 p.m.
Mr. Speaker, sir, only few points again I want to put forward, sir. So I stand to oppose the court motion. And a few points I would like, sir, to urge the Honourable Minister, because he have already brought the demand for grant related with Education Department. Because all the members of the House, we have concern of the SSA teachers, sir. I'm sure that the demand for grant that the House will be taken into consideration and will pass. I'm sure that the Honourable Minister, he will take care for the SSA teacher in the state. So for information of the House and to all of us, I would like to say to the Minister, I've always said on the day that he had been the Education Minister, almost running there for more than 4 years. He knew better about the problem of SSA teacher. And we have also the Principal Secretary and also the Additional Secretary who is in charge of education. He knew the problem of the teacher in the state. But my issue, the top priority to all of us, we would all like to urge the Honourable Minister, if he can release all the pending salary of SSA teacher in the state, that will help a lot. So in the meantime, sir, I would like also to refer about the state of Manipur, state of Arunachal Pradesh, state of Tripura. These are 3 states. So the government did what they did because they knew what the problem of SSA teacher. Now all these 3 states, they have to take SSA teacher and accommodate in education department. So the same yardstick, the same policy, and the same rule that the other states in the Northeast have already been considered for the SSA teacher. I urge the Honourable Minister, if he also consider, understand at one time it cannot possible. We have more than 12,000 SSA teachers in the state. At one shot, 12,000 cannot possible to regularize or to accommodate in the education department. But it is in his wisdom how he will help all the SSA teachers, because we understand that this problem will continue from time to time. But my request, Honourable Minister, if we can accommodate in a phased manner to all SSA teachers in the education department, that will be help for the future of the SSA teacher. Second to that, sir, I urge the Honourable Education Minister, if he can pay the salary of the SSA teacher in quarterly, like you have did for the deficit teacher and ad hoc teacher. Understand, but the amount for the SSA teacher, that will come from the center. But even then, if he can accommodate, if he can exercise his mind and pay the salary of the SSA teacher quarterly, like they have already did for deficit teacher, and also for the ad hoc teacher, that will help for the SSA teacher in the state. So, but last point, sir, I urge the Honourable Education Minister, very important now from the side of the government, they have to think about the future of SSA teacher. Many of teachers in SSA, they have been in the teaching line or joining with SSA teacher more than 15 years, because this scheme have already been implemented in the year 2001. You understand, sir, now if you go by the scheme, now running for 21 years, but many teachers, they have been in the SSA teacher, but more than 15 years. Because of that reason, it is difficult for them to go for the new job, to go for the new assignment, because of the age problem. And I am sure that the Honourable Education Minister, he will take care for the benefit of the teacher in the state. So with this word, I resume my seat. Again, so I oppose the court motion, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker, sir. I rise to oppose the court motion brought by our Honourable Member from Mawson Ram. But also at the same time, I'd like to take this opportunity to share some of my concern and issues relating with education department in my constituency, which require immediate attention, sir. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'd like to bring to the notice of this House that the retaining wall of the Government Boys Higher Secondary School in Chutwaku Joy collapsed on the 26th May 2020, causing damages to 4 houses surrounding the area and endangering countless lives. And sir, our Education Minister also inspected the site on the following day, sir. Sir, the collapsed retaining wall is yet to be constructed, and the school building on the hilltop has been rendered unused, and it is on the verge of collapsing, sir. Therefore, sir, I would like to request the state government and our respected Education Minister to kindly take cognizance of the matter and construct the retaining wall in the interest and safety of the student and the resident of the area and the public before monsoon season, because we can predict how heavy will be the rain, how heavy will the rain be, sir. Also, sir, I would like to bring to the notice of this House that the hostel of the Government Girls Higher Secondary School has been left unfunctional for many years now, sir, because the PW building has declared is unfit for use, sir. So therefore, sir, I request the Honorable Education Minister if the sanction for the same can be done, because it will help the girls who are coming for education from far-flung areas and also the poor students, sir. And also, sir, at last, I would like to again stress upon regarding the salary of the morning section lecturers in Kiang Nang Ba, which was started since 2008, where at the beginning they were paid 2,500 and later raised to 5,000, and it's remained 5,000 till now, sir. And considering the fact that their workload is same with the day section, sir, so I urge upon our Education Minister to please take this matter seriously, and if their salary could be raised to at least 20,000 a month, sir. With these few submissions, sir, once again, I oppose this cut motion, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I stand to oppose the cut motion by Honorable Member Shri H.M. Shangpliang and Shri George B. Lingdor. But there are just few suggestions which I would like to give with regards to the Education Department. See, sir, this particular act, this Person with Disabilities, Equal Opportunities, Protection of Rights, and Full Participation Act of 1995. And in Chapter 5, Section 26-21, provides a scope in the form of education, particularly for children with disabilities around the society. In our state, there are so many children, sir, who face a lot of difficulties and suffering from ASDs and other disabilities which hinders them going to a normal school with the rest of the children. So my request to the Honorable Minister in charge, to the government, if they can consider setting up a special school which will handle these particular children in order for them to partake in the education in the years to come. Because we have seen, and particularly personally, in the past, there are some children who cannot participate in the full capacity because of such disabilities, and it hinders them to pursue the education with the rest of the school children. So my request, if the government can consider construction and setting up such schools, because as of now, there are societies and where the grants are given to them, that is up to the government. But my concern, if the government can take some action, some initiative in setting up such special schools to handle these particular areas. So with these few submissions, I once again, like to oppose a cut motion and I resume my seat. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, I rise to oppose this cut motion. I have few issues with regards to the general interests of the teachers' fraternity within the state and other related issues within the state of Meghalaya. We are happy to see that through this grant number 21, the Education Department will earmark for more than 257 crore for different sections within this department. So, there are a few issues. Number one, with regard to the appointment of the teachers in government LP school within the state. We appreciate the initiative taken by the government by conducting MTET exam, and those who have already passed, interview has been conducted, and they have been appointed in different government LP schools within the state. In due course of time, in the last more than about a year, many teachers have been retired, few of them has expired. So there are many vacancies in many government LP schools. So we would like to press upon the department to expedite possibility to speed up approval for conduct personal interview for those MTET pass teachers so that appointment can be issued to all these schools so that they wouldn't lose because the academic session have already started, and we hope that the government will take cognizance of this. Number two, sir, with regard to many higher secondary schools within our state who has not been received financial assistance till now, I would request the government to expedite possibility to see that those higher secondary school, unaided higher secondary school, the government will look into. For example, like the Nongtlu Higher Secondary School in D1, which has been started in 2009, till now no financial assistance in the form of ad hoc grant or deficit has not yet been marked till now. I would like the department to consider this. The last point, sir, with regard to the long pending problem of the deficit school teacher, where they demand about the DCRG, maternity leave, and other issues that they have, that the government will look into the department to expedite possibilities that this issue could be addressed as soon as possible. I resume my seat, sir. Thank you so much.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to support the cut motion tabled by Honorable Member from Mausanram, and would like to make a brief submission and observation thereof to draw the attention of the concerned Minister and the government. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you look at the budgetary allocation under this grant, this has always been one of the sector where the allocations have been highest. It is only because this is a sector where there are binding constitutional obligations of the government to fulfill its responsibilities vis-a-vis certain relevant provision of the Constitution, and also keeping in mind the very fact that ours is a nation which is a welfare state. So education per se, if we look at, we were privileged to have in the past many people who have sacrificed, even without the support of the government, to establish innumerable schools across different parts of the state. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, you yourself has been also instrumental in contributing to this sector to a great extent. I have seen my parents who are no longer with us having contributed to this sector even without receiving salaries. And there are innumerable countless people who have done so and have set the trend to ensure that we reach thus far in achieving what we have achieved in this particular sector. Now, there are a number of programs which have helped the children coming from poor families. There are entitlements in the form of scholarship, subsidies. These are things which have helped many of the brilliant children who have aspired and dreamed to be able to realize their dreams after pursuing their career in education. And we are happy that we have been able to receive, even myself, I am a beneficiary of such program of the government. And many of our children continue to receive such benefits. But here what is important is that since many of these programs are supported and initiated by Government of India, there are some necessary realignment of our approach to implementation of this program, keeping in mind the type of problems that we have gone through. I think one case in instance is the timely release of the scholarships to the students. And another part is to rationalize the eligibility criteria of our children who are entitled to receive such support in the form of scholarships and different form of subsidies. Now, there are programs in addition to what is provided by the Department of Education. The Border Area Development Department also has one special component for providing assistance to students pursuing their education at different levels, including higher education. Therefore, I think I would like to request the department to look at how this can be revisited and can conceptualize it in order to have much better multiplier effect, number one. And number two, the timing of the release of these scholarships and subsidies. We have tried in the past also to dwell upon this issue, but the problem has always been that we are compelled to wait for the component of fund which comes from Government of India, and if there is a delay, then there is a resultant delay in releasing. Now, the innocent children, the students, do not obviously know the nitty-gritty of these kind of problems vis-a-vis the problem of governance. Therefore, there seems to be lots of situation where our children starts coming up with questions and become victim of frustration and anger. This can be corrected, but there has to be a mechanism. I would like to submit before this August House and suggest to the government that a corpus fund can be created to enable the department to release these scholarships to the children on time. This very suggestion was also given during my time, but somehow or other we could not work out because we tried to create many such corpus fund to be made available to the line departments in respect of ensuring continuity or rather to avoid disruption of implementation of programs like MGNREGS and others. Even for MGNREGS, we created a corpus fund which were placed at the disposal of the society which was created for this purpose. Similarly, we tried for many other programs also. Many of the departments were released advance fund in order to see that when they start implementing, there is no dislocation of implementation of the program due to delay in release of fund. So we did try in respect of many of the schemes involving many of the departments. So similar thing can be done here. It will definitely require certain amount of fund, but a dedicated amount as a corpus fund can be kept aside for the purpose of usage by the Department of Education. This will go a long way in addressing this concern, and I find no other way, but this is the only way. Then similarly, the agonizing experiences through which the teachers have to go through. Now, it's very painful when our teachers have to leave their respective places of work and come to the district capitals, to the state capitals to draw the attention of all of us, the government and the opposition, and run from pillar to post to get their issues addressed in the right perspective, and particularly pertaining to the regular payment of salary. This problem was not there until 2014. Because when the states engaged with Government of India was very keen on listening to the states and was prompt in releasing the fund. So we didn't have to wait. Even though there is a delay a little bit, the state governments know we are bound to receive the fund. So we were in a position to release the whatever amount is required by the department for the salary component. So Government of India embarks upon a number of programs, sometimes without even consulting the states, like Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Subsequent to that, we have your RMSA. So I remember when in 2005, when I was the Deputy CM in charge of education, I had the privilege of being a member of the CAB, and we talked about now when we are trying to reduce the dropout at the primary level, increase the enrollment, and also reduce the dropout. That means there will be increased demand for admission at the higher level. at the upper primary level, at the secondary level. And when we try to reduce the dropout at the secondary level, there will be resultant increase of demand for admission at the higher secondary level. And then subsequently at the colleges, at the degree level. And subsequent to that at the higher education level, at the university level. So we had to take cognizance of these likely challenges that will unfold before the states, and therefore take measures in order to create the situation where the children will not be then suddenly subjected to running from pillar to post to get admissions. But in spite of that, what has happened? The government of India took long time to decide. And ultimately they came up with the RMSA, then RUSA. So embarking upon new initiatives where substantial amount of money is required, where state share also has to be contributed by the states. Northeastern states always had a problem because of the limited resources. That's why we always used to seek special central assistance from Government of India. Untied fund, so that the states have access to some fund. Now therefore, while we must keep on taking up these issues with Government of India, but one important thing is that Government of India must allocate these funds in advance by the beginning of the financial year. And it must be in the first quarter of the year. Specifically in respect of this education, which is funded by Government of India, where the major chunk is 90:10. Now they have again restructured this over the years. Initial period they will say 90:10. Then they will say 80:20. Then they will say that no, it will be 75:25. Sometimes then they will come and say that no, now you states take the responsibility of the whole program. So this is what we have gone through over the years. Therefore, states have to be collectively taking up this issue with Government of India. And in as far as this issue of salary of the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyans are concerned, I think we need to again look at that possibility of having a corpus fund. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months is the usual delay. I don't know what is the latest delay. I think it is around 6 months, 7 months. So what is the total requirement of fund that will be required to pay the salary of the SSA teachers for 7 months or 8 months? At least for 2 quarters, 6 months. Let that amount be worked out and sanctioned by government and place it at the disposal of our education department, so that at least this money is spent in advance in anticipation of the release of funds from Government of India. But if we wait for Government of India to release, they keep on assuring us, but they delay. So the problem has to be faced by the state. Therefore, to avoid that kind of situation where teachers are subjected to, such agonizing experiences that they had to go through, it does affect their whole optimization of their potentiality of teaching and imparting education for our children. And we have to also remember that the major chunk of the schools are under this program. Therefore, it does affect. It affects our children. It affects the whole. I must say, it has such a negative ramification on the whole overall socio-economic landscape. It does have. Therefore, there is no way, but this is something, while Government of India should be pressed on to give us similar kind of advance release. If we wait for them, we don't know whether they will comply or not, but the state should try to explore this particular strategy where the dedicated corpus fund is placed at the disposal of the education department. Then similarly, now in the natural calamity related issues of the schools, if we go through the state, almost everywhere we have substantial number of schools which are damaged by natural calamity on a yearly basis. Then I see that somehow or other the areas which are more prone for such damage due to cyclone and hailstorms are mostly in North Garo Hills, East Garo Hills, South Garo Hills, West Khas Hills, Southwest Khas Hills, and the southern slope of the whole state. This is the usual trend. And I remember in 2018, in one particular instance of hailstorm, the whole stretch from starting from the Resu block till Mausin Road block, the whole residential buildings, the small houses of the members of the community, and the schools were damaged. Huge number. I calculated from my constituency alone, it was 126 numbers. Only one constituency. So what happens is that when these are all eligible to be supported from the, that State Disaster Response Fund, the process takes long time. But the classes cannot wait. Now, most of the schools were compelled to have some, temporary arrangement where the tarpaulins were used. It happened in Rongjang, it happened in my Samanda block, it happened in my Songsak block. Subsequently, of course, after repeated reminder, what we got was for the preceding years, but not for that particular year. So backlog is too much. So one particular exercise between Department of Education and the Department of Revenue and Disaster Management must be there. The Chief Secretary is the, the chairman of the state level committee. I do not find any reason why this meeting should not be prompt enough, and ask the DCs immediately as to what are the numbers of such affected schools, at least the schools and the dwelling houses of the people. Delay in these things, obviously. Then I told my managing committee and the villagers, yeah, please go and report to the block and come and tell me. Many of them didn't listen. I am representing a new constituency, Songsak. So they said, sir, it's no point. I said, why? No, we did earlier, but nothing happens. Nothing happens. I said, no, it's not like this. I had to reassure them. Then I had to speak to the officers concerned. See, this is the perception of the people, that nothing is there. No point of trying. And there is a reason, because there is an unnecessary delay. When we have a dedicated amount of fund which is being indicated in every budget, it's a separate allocation. This year it is 75.8 or 75.4 is the allocated fund which will be accrued to the State Disaster Response Fund. Now we must remember one thing. This particular fund cannot be spent for anything else except for those components which are eligible to be spent under natural calamity. It cannot be spent for anything, so it accrues. In fact, there was a time when 2014, that September 22nd, massive rain which created flood in the western part of the state, when we had so much of damage, we could not ask anything more from Government of India, but because we had the fund under natural, that State Disaster Response Fund, which was enough to at least take those programs which are eligible to be funded under the relevant fund. So these are relevant, the scope of supporting this or scope of covering these damaged school buildings due to natural calamity is one of the component which is covered under this. So I once again therefore request the government through you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, let there be a meeting immediately involving the state disaster state level committee at the level of the either minister himself or at the chief minister himself, because again the state level the State Disaster Management Authority chairman is the chief minister. So even without having to go for that level, chief secretary should be asked to take measures at his level, because that whole executive decision can be completed there as per the mandate of the Disaster Management Act, and Disaster Management Act is very clear. So I hope this particular issue will be attended to. Then another part is that the issue of understanding. There are many problems. I would not like to go to details. I think the minister in charge himself is aware of all these programs. We keep on discussing even outside the house. So we are all aware of programs and problems. Kindly attend to those. One important aspect is that, see, as I have said, there is always an increased demand for admission at upper primary, secondary, higher secondary, and then the college level and the university level. It's very painful to see brilliant children not getting admission in universities. For a reference, there was a case which was circulated in social media where one young man secured, I think, 83% or something in mathematics at the graduation level and did not get admission for further pursuing his courses at the university level for mathematics. This is the reality, and we are confronted by this reality. So there has to be something. And something is that there has to be increase in seats in university within our state. Now, there are a number of private universities which have come up. I remember navigating the whole discussion to ultimately get the approval of this August House to pass that private universities, Self-Financing Private Universities Act in 2005. We did. We were the first states, in fact, 3 acts at one go. But the fact is that that is in order to somehow retain the students who otherwise will go outside the state and outside the Northeast to pursue education in private universities. Even if there is no seat available in the government universities, they will, whoever wants to pursue their education, they are exploring the seats in the private university section. And therefore, it is always important that we retain as much, or rather as many students as possible within our state. And for that, we have to create that facility. That is precisely the reason why, in addition to the NEHU, we wanted to have our own university, Meghalaya Technical University. It's a university of the state. That means it is our own university. It is our own baby. It is a university which has come through the mandate of this August House. This House has given note to the enactment of that law to give birth to this Meghalaya Technical University. We already appointed the Vice Chancellor, and there were already certain directives to format everything as to how to go forward and identify some of the courses to start or rather operationalize the university. Somehow it has not happened for so many years. It is not correct. Why are not we taking care of our own baby? The difference between the state university and the central university we have to understand. Central university, we keep on talking about many departments which we want to have for our children based on their aspirations. As far as the pursuing of courses of higher studies are concerned by the youth. Now, it is not within our control. Government of India has to be convinced. If they give us, well, fine. If not, we swallow. Therefore, the wearer knows where the shoe pinches. That means the youth know where the shoe pinches. They're finding it hard. It is a fact. So please operationalize this Meghalaya Technical University. This is our own baby. I talked to the Vice Chancellor. I asked him, what has happened? Proposals have been sent to the state government. State government is sitting on these proposals. For whose interest? Who is that gentleman who is sitting on this proposal? Government has to take cognizance of this and then find out what is happening. Then, and it is a university which can, now we talk about tourism. You know, education is a catalyst for promoting tourism. And this is the strength that we have. I remember when I was studying my pre-university science in St. Anthony's College in 1982-84, when we were still in the old campus at Don Bosco Square. Students converging from all parts of the Northeast, from Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, even from other parts of the state. This was the educational hub. This was the most favored destination. Somehow or other, we should have established more and more institutions and educational institutions at all levels, including higher education, and retain this power of attracting the students of all parts of the country, including retaining our students. Now forget about being able to attract students from outside. We are not being able to retain our own students from our own Meghalaya. It's a flight of capital. It's bad economics, very bad economics. That is precisely the reason why, in spite of all the constraints, in the preceding years we took hard decisions. Though we had, problems pertaining to the resources, we convinced Government of India, in addition to what we could do from our own resources, that RUSA. The moment this RUSA program was started, I was happy to have Government of India agreeing to give us 2 projects instead of 1 in respect of professional colleges. One engineering college in Meghalaya, I would like to urge the government to operationalize this college. Let this engineering college start its academic courses immediately, and I would like to know from the minister when they can do it. Then another one is the College of Architecture and Urban Planning. In fact, there was only one College of Architecture and Urban Planning under the disposal of the Ministry of HRD, Government of India. And there were 5. Tug of war, we managed to get it. So let us operationalize this. Retain our students within the state of Meghalaya. And these educational institutions will act as catalysts to attract people to come from outside and retain our people. Then the College of Commerce and Science, one in Mauplang, one in Southwest Garo Hills in Mahendraganj. Let us operationalize them. Then all these projects which are under RUSA, which are funded by Government of India, somehow or other again, there is no realistic follow-up of these programs. I can make it out from I draw the attention of the minister himself pertaining to these programs, keeping in mind the statement which was laid on the table of the House in response to my question, unstarred question number 46, where RUSA 1, new professional colleges, those 2 colleges, Engineering College and College of Architecture and Urban Planning. The financial progress as per the UC submitted is 86.49, but the physical progress is 72. How do we reconcile with this figure? Whether the contractors have been already paid up to the extent of 86%, which is reflected by the indication of the financial progress, whereas the physical progress is only 72. Similarly, in all other programs also. In one case, it is 92% physical progress, financial progress is 98. So physical progress, the financial progress surpassing the physical progress. Kindly verify it whether there has been payment to the contractor beyond the physical progress or beyond the works executed. I would like to urge the government to complete these programs and make use of this number of initiatives which we embarked upon years before. I don't find, okay, there may be reason to attribute, okay, pandemic, this and that, but then these are programs which will not take so much of time. These are not massive size in respect of infrastructure. So when China is building their cities in 3 years, I think building this, we need to look at how we also justify any such situation where we get things delayed. Then the issue of one alleged irregularity in respect of implementation of one program in Rongjeng. I would like to urge the government to take it seriously. Last time when I was in my constituency, all of them came. And the narrative is that there is a complete prima facie case of compromising with the quality of the work. And there is a perception that the work, though it is compromised, the government is not taking any action because the work was executed by someone who is close to people in power. I think that kind of perception is not good. So let us clear this kind of perception. Please have one inquiry and clear the air. And if there is any irregularity, contractor is contractor. We take action against it as per the law of the land, as per the relevant provisions of the rules. Then I am constrained to share my deep anguish on few of the initiatives which were embarked upon and which are lying like an eyesore before the people of the state. The bikes. If you go to Ampati, on the left side, before you reach Beta Singh, we will see a skeletal structure of some infrastructure, that is education department's infrastructure to establish an institution for teachers training. At the block level, we call them bike. Asset being created, abandoned as though it is somebody else's baby. I understand that bike was agreed upon by Government of India after continuous endeavor made by the state government to prevail upon Government of India to give us these funds. These funds have come from Government of India. But the fact is that the fund which was agreed upon by Government of India was less than the actual scope of work. Now, wherever there is problem with certain amount of fund, then we have to review it. We have to see, okay, if Government of India is not giving any more additional amount to enable us to complete the project, then what do we do? Do we leave the project like that? Do we fail ourselves in imparting the important training facilities to the students within their vicinity, within their neighborhood? This was precisely the reason. So I would like to request through you, Mr. Speaker, sir, to look at all those programs. Block Institute of Teachers Education, BITES. They're all half done. And I'm afraid the contractors also have not received their fund. They're entrepreneurs. They're small-time entrepreneurs. Some of them have borrowed money from these sisters, brothers, from self-help group, thinking that they will not get stuck. They will get payment on time. They can't imagine that government can do this. Now, if somebody says that, okay, build my house, and that owner of the house does not give the money to the builder, the person will go and probably file a case under relevant sections of the CRPC, IPC, including 420. Government cannot be perceived like this. So it is our job. It is the job of the government to, when take a regular review of the department's various programs that has been taken up. Every Naya Paisa that is being given to the department is voted by this August House. Voted by this August House. Coming from government exchequer. Public exchequer we call them. Public money we call them. So therefore it is our responsibility that when we have decided to invest on a very important program, let us ensure that we complete the project. These are small projects. It is not something which the government could not have done. So I would expect that the department, under the leadership of the minister in charge, will review all these pending programs and look at education. I appreciate the intent of the government to who have expressed the realization and understanding of the strength of the state, in understanding the strength and potentiality of the state, to position this state as one of the best destinations to attract tourists. Education is one sector which enables the state to have permanent tourists. I used to refer the students as permanent tourists. Many people in Shillong and Tura are beneficiary of students converging to these places to pursue their education. Many people have benefited by giving rentals in their respective premises. Many of the cafes, many of the restaurants, many of the cinema halls have thrived because of the students. Many of the cab drivers, you just see when the holidays are declared, the streets are comparatively thinner. But when the institutions, schools are still open, the streets are crowded, overcrowded, even up to the extent of having traffic jam. So education is one sector which attracts people to look at a destination wherever we create that positive vibes that, yes, this is the place which you should look at as your educational destination. And Shillong and Meghalaya has this power, this strength. We must really take advantage of this. And this is precisely why government, after government have looked at this, in spite of the constraints, even the private people have started, funneling their whatever investable reserves are there to establish institutions, schools, colleges, and it's a good sign. Now, every time when there's an admission, the parents have to come. Every time when there's a holiday, some schools insist that the parents should come before their children are released from the hostel. So it's a kind of situation where education acts as a catalyst to promote tourism. Many places, we talk about Boston in the northeast part of the United States of America, the whole Boston basically have thrived and prospered because of education. People from all over the country converge there. Some of the places in south, remember that Kodaikanal. What is there? Only educational institution, only educational institution, only education. But there are five-star hotels. The five-star hotels are running because of the education. Because the children who come to study, the alumni of the institution, they become our ambassadors. They go back and share their beautiful, experiences. Therefore, we tried hard to have premier institutions here, apart from the institutions which are established by the state government. IIM, NIFT, IIT, these are outcome of this understanding that we must get these premier institutions and bring them so that through these institutions, we have ready-made ambassadors who will, after completion of their education, go back and act as our ambassador to position, promote, and position our state as the best destination to promote it as a destination for education and tourism. With these few words, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I would like to draw the attention of the government, through you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, to take cognizance of these few points which I have suggested. I also just had one point of residential schools. Please work on this. And the publics, what is that? We started this as community colleges. Now it is called People's College. Name has been changed. Name also indicates many things. When we say community colleges, people can understand. People's colleges, little difficult. That's why I used to say smart cities. Little difficult for me to understand, comprehend. But when we say livable, the most livable city, most livable town, I think any common man can connect to these nomenclatures. So therefore, this concept of having these colleges outside the state capital, outside the district capital, is to create that natural process of expansion of development beyond the state capitals and beyond the district capitals. If all the children have to converge to Shillong, from all the outskirts of Shillong, you add to the congestion of the road. Therefore, allow the natural expansion. So kindly expedite the implementation of this program and take up more such things over a period of time. A beginning has been met, the concept is there, but one very important inherent part of the original concept was that these institutions must be different from other institutions. These community colleges now being called as People's College. How it should be different? It should be different from the perspective of creating a different environment, like the model of Pine Mount School, where the management is independent for respective institutions, so that anybody who is applying for such vacancy pertaining to the teacher's post will be there only, not transferable. Otherwise, what is going to happen? Any such college established in Chokpot, if somebody has applied for the job who is from Tura, the moment he gets chance, he will just look at the vacancy arising in Tura. This is what we have seen over the years, when we had only two government colleges, Tura Government College and Kiang Nongba Government College. What used to happen? Let us learn from this experience. Anybody who is from Shillong, posted in Tura Government College, human nature, human behavior, they want to be closer to their respective homes, want to be closer to their parents, or otherwise the parents want them to be closer to them. So they will always look at the likely vacancy which will come up in Kiang Nongba. And every time there is a vacancy in Kiang Nongba, somebody from Tura Government College will be transferred and posted. In fact, there was a resistance from the citizens, from the people of Jaintia Hills, that why there should not be any recruitment by the MPSC all the time, transfer and posting, transfer as posting. This is because of the system. But every college should have their system where, if I'm in Tura Government College, I remain in Tura Government College, that sense of belongingness. Otherwise, the mind is not there. The person is there. Mind is all the time looking at, okay, when to meet their parents, when to convince their parents to go and meet somebody who is influential to get themselves transferred. And there's an unhealthy competition. When there's a one vacancy, there are 3-4 people in one department who wants to come to fill up that vacancy to be nearby their resident. So that's why we wanted to, having learned from this experience, we wanted to have a different system. What is that system? That these colleges must have a recruitment policy which will be specific to those colleges only, and they are not transferable to any other colleges. Whoever wants to remain in Chokpot or whoever wants to remain in Resu, they will go there. And who is not willing, he will not apply. So kindly relook at this. I feel that this is one of the ways to create that vibrant environment which is required to be created in any of the institutions which is being embarked upon. With so much of investment, we have seen that many of the LP schools where teachers are there, but the teachers themselves are not going, there are proxy teachers going. Very unhealthy, but it is a reality. It is a reality. It has been brought to the notice of this August House many times, even in the past. It's a reality. Therefore, these colleges also should not start having, get affected by this kind of trend in the years to come. Because many of these proposed colleges are in difficult areas, in rural areas. Therefore, I understand that the same problem ultimately will inflict these colleges and it will defeat our purpose and it will generate all kinds of unhealthy perception about the way we manage schools and institutions. Then in respect of the primary education, the teachers issue, that it has been already discussed in course of the question hour. But one important thing is that when the schools are open, if in any of the primary education, primary school, there is no teacher because of retirement or because of transfer, what happens to that school? What happens to that school? Can we say that we will have to wait until the teachers are appointed through the normal recruitment process? Then how are you going to justify that free and compulsory education and our obligation to achieve that, rather fulfill that constitutional obligation, and also the right to education? So there are a number of laws which will operate. We will be actually subjected to a situation where we'll have to answer in front of somebody who will question us. If somebody goes to the court, seeking the intervention of the court, I'm afraid so many schools are there where there are parents are asking, when is our school going to open? We can't be so unfair to our children. So there is no other way. Until your regular appointment is completed, have at least appointment to those specific schools where the teachers are not there, where the schools have not opened. There are a number of schools in North Garhwils and East Garhwils and South Garhwils, maximum, and West Khasi and Southwest Khasi, where teachers are not there for last 2 years. Last 2 years. Last year, people were somehow convinced because of the pandemic. But this time, how do we convince them? So it is unfair. It is not inconsistent with our responsibility in fulfilling our constitutional binding responsibility and our social responsibility and our moral responsibility. So with these few words, I hope I can get all the corrective measures resorted to by the government under the personal supervision of the minister in charge. With these few words, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I support this cut motion and resume my seat.
Sir, Deputy Speaker, sir, first of all, I would like to thank the Honorable Member Shri H.M. Shangpliang, who moved this cut motion, and also the George Bilengdo, process Saukme, Saleng Sangma, Violet Mikishula, Balaji Sanrem, Meral Bons Aim, and leader of opposition, Dr. Mukul Sangma, who have taken part in this court motion to draw the attention of the government regarding the problem which are there in the department and what corrective measure which the government should take so that the education system could be take forward into so that the student will benefit and the future of the state also benefit. There are so many deliberations which the Honorable Member have already mentioned. I would like to simplify it into some category only. Number one is the payment of the teachers. I would like to state here that except SSA, the payment of teachers for all categories of teachers, there is no problem as long as they submit the UC on time. Number two, regarding the late payment of SSA teachers, I do agree that this is the problem which we are facing because, as the Honorable LO has already mentioned, that this we are totally dependent upon on the central government. And it's not that the government of Meghalaya does not try to have the corpus fund. In fact, in 2020, 78 crore plus of corpus fund have been utilized in anticipation that the central government will release all its obligation to the state government. And this corpus fund, which we have never able to replenish, is because the government of India time and again has delayed the payment of the installment to the state government. Having said that, as I have mentioned in the deliberation in the question or motion, which I have already, that the government will try to pay within this calendar year as much as possible. And regarding the problem of the food teachers, the ad hoc teachers, the deficit teachers, I may mention here with that, as I said, that the government is, and also the RMSA head teachers, the government is in active consideration, but that all this issue, pending issue, which not yesterday, not before yesterday, it is many years, how to solve this issue so that the increase in the salary or remuneration, as the case may be, could be done. And again, regarding the problem of the teachers, regarding the Kiangnamba morning section, college community section, which honorable member from Mausan Ram and honorable member from Jawai has raised, the government education department has already sent a proposal that the salary of the teachers should be enhanced to 25,000. And regarding the problem of the irregular attendance of the teachers, which we have time and again, it is only in the talk but not in the action, because nobody till date have ever complained who is that person who subcontract his job, who is that person who does not attend the duty. So it is constrained the department that to take action where there is no complaint. Having said that, we have seen that many of SDSEO, DSEO, or as the case may be, which lying vacant. This is not because the fault of the government. Because many years, I don't know why, people sit at the promotion of the people who are due to be to get the promotion. But I'm happy, sir, in the last 3 years, we are trying to streamline so that those posts could be filled, so that the necessary monitoring could be strengthened, so that whatever complaint which the honorable member raised could be attended at the grassroots level. It should not have come here. We are trying to, through the personal plan, even to wipe up the 2 years or 3 years period, as the case may be, so that we could fill up the post, so that, as I said before, that monitoring of the school could be done, sir. So I need, the department need the cooperation of the member, so that nobody should take that job for granted. Job is also bring responsibility. The responsibility is to teach the student of the state. And regarding the infrastructure problem, which most of our members have raised, that's it is the first time that any government have embarked upon the massive program to make sure that the schools have the proper building, secondary school and higher secondary school have the proper building. I'm very happy that all the common secondary school and higher secondary school, we have taken up the project for the new construction. People may say, why? You need building, you could not pay salary, you could not pay this and that. Sir, quality education. Just yesterday, honorable member raised about the smart classroom, raised about ICT, raised about many things issue, but it relates to infrastructure. Attendance of the teachers also relates to infrastructure. If the roof is not there, how the teacher will go and teach? So that's why we have undertaken a massive program whereby the government school could be attended, so that all the necessary intervention could be given for the benefit of the student. And regarding the point which Honorable LO has mentioned regarding the repair of schools, where the schools needs only 1, 2 or 3 lakh, or these natural calamities, I'm very happy to inform the House through you, Honorable Speaker, sir, that yesterday at 6 o'clock, the Honorable Chief Minister has held the meeting, the review meeting on this issue, where with the Planning, Finance and Education Department, where we will try to attend to this critical issue, so that the basic infrastructure could be attended to, where the Additional Chief Secretary Education will call a review with the Finance Department, Planning Department, Revenue, and also DC, to see how much fund which is there under these natural calamities, and how much fund the state government could intervene, so that the schools could be immediately attended to, so that the student could be benefit. Regarding the issue which raised by the Saleng A. Sangma regarding the quality education, so that the state could produce IAS or IPS or civil service. Sir, Chief Minister has been informed that MATI has already introduced, start this course, where about 75 aspirants are in hostel, and 120 student or aspirant for this civil service are admitted, where the faculty from not only from the state but from other part of the country have come, so to help the student, maybe that we will, in the few years, that we will able to help the student, help the youth of the state. And one more thing, sir, which I would like to add, that in 2018, when we took over as the government, sir, we have seen that most of the central service or central competitive exam, where it is being done through the NCRT textbook. So we immediately took a decision that for commerce and science, we will adopt the NCRT textbook. This slowly, I hope, that small intervention will make a difference in the near future. So, regarding the problem of the private school or private college, which Honorable from Maulai have already brought about, mentioned, yes, we are very happy that there are many society, many community, many individuals, in fact, who have come forward to set up their schools and college. And due to this pandemic, that they face the difficulties. But at present, it's not, I cannot say that the government will come forward. So, and regarding the Honorable MLA from Juwai, who mentioned regarding the returning wall at Juwai, which I myself has visited, the estimate have been ready, and the proposal for sanction of this have been made. I hope that we will attend into this immediately, sir. And regarding the intervention of the Education Department, regarding the people of with disability, person with disability, yesterday the Honorable Member the Honorable Minister of Social Welfare has laid this report. So in this report of 2020-21, we could have seen it's not, is very in deep what is intervention of the Education Department to help those children with special needs, sir. Regarding the financial assistance to the higher secondary school, so it is endeavor from the government to come into see what it is needed. But having said that, we have so many interventions which we have want to set things right. So we didn't want to venture much beyond our means, beyond the capacity to do so. So, and regarding the issue which the Block Resource Center in Umroy or Bhairumbang, which Honorable from Umroy has raised, as we know that is in this new block, that the government of India have not sanctioned. So as of now, the parent block is looking after this, sir. And regarding the issue which to look into the Eastern Ribhoy, so as I already replied that day, sir, that if the ROSA scheme and if it is met within the parameter of the scheme, we are surely look into this issue, sir. And regarding the issue which raised by the LO regarding the timely release of scholarship. Sir, I'm very happy that this issue, time and again, come into the House. Why the government does not release scholarship? Many questions, but not a single member of this House till today, in the last 4 years, who has raised the question or the issue why the government does not increase the scholarship of the student. But we are duty bound of the government. That 2019, we have took a decision that from the maximum of 5,000, 6,000, minimum 15,000, up till 35,000. But nobody talk about that. Talk about only timely. And the people who didn't get the scholarship, Honorable LO has clearly understand the need, the problem, how. Now with the linking with the bank, this and that, it is very difficult. It is very astonishing to me. I thought that many people will get scholarship through this enhanced. But 2019-20, sir, only 6,286 from the 30,000 plus student. After with all this documentation which needed under the scheme, that only 6,286 till yesterday got the scholarship. Many due to some issue or other. So timely release, it is the suggestion of Honorable LO regarding the timely release of scholarship. To have a corpus fund, this need to be examined properly. It is a very good suggestion. Both and for border area development, we will surely revisit the process so that the student could get their benefit in time, and not after they pass their schools or college, they will get their scholarship. Regarding the higher education, sir, I would like to inform the House through you, Honorable Speaker, sir, that some course, some subject in Kiangnamba and Kiangnamba Government College and Tura Government College have been asked, the college principal have asked to apply so that some postgraduate course could be started in those colleges so that to help the student of the state. And not only that, I'm very happy, sir, that many of the society who run the college, be it St. Denis, be Synod College, be Giant Eastern College, or others, they have started the course so that the student could be retained in the state, could have the opportunity to pursue their post-graduation in the state of, in our own state. Sir, regarding the Captain Williamson Sangma Technical University, sir, yes, the act have been passed more than 10 years back. And till today, not yet personalized. And Honorable LO asked with a strong voice, who sit on that file for the last many years? Sir, 10 years have passed. Nobody talked and nobody remember about the Captain Williamson Technical University. But I'm happy to inform that this government have already sanctioned the post for this university in 2019. Sir. And I'm happy to inform that nobody cares about what is this Captain Williamson Technical University. It is this government. We have held a meeting to review at the education department level. And sir, I am the first minister who have held the board of corner meetings, sir, for this university, sir. As the Chancellor of University, many education ministers have come and go since 2012, but nobody have presided, sir. they forget about this university. But this government, we want to operationalize. We have already sanctioned of legal post, help of the Board of Governor meeting held done in Tura. And not only that, framing of recruitment role, service role is going on, sir. We want to operationalize it. I have visited myself, sir, to see that the building is complete so that we could start as early as possible. Regarding the College of Architecture and Planning, sir, we have seen the process for sanctioning of posts is on, but for Shillong Engineering College also, so that it could be operationalized, sir. And regarding this Mawklang and Mahendraganj Science and Commerce College, sir, the construction of this college is still going on, sir. And regarding the project, the issue of Rongjian Model Degree College, sir, the technical committee have been constituted to look into the technical aspect of the issue which raised by the organization or civil society, as the case may be. And regarding the issue of bike, sir, in Khasi we told Bamhati Kit Kulai. I mean, government of India sanctioned this much money to construct. I don't know in the wisdom of that government, they want to construct fancy building, I don't know. Estimate is so much beyond the means. If the government at that time construct within the amount sanctioned by the government of India, it could be completed. But government of India sanctioned this much, approved this much, then it stopped. Moreover, sir, it is not we are forgetting those issues. New education policy have been launched, where no teachers education institute, what do you call, stand alone. All should be integrated in the college. So this issue, if you construct as a bike, we know that as per the regulation, mandate of that policy which they are trying to implement now, that we may not get the permission from NCTE because they are all stand-alone teachers institute. So, sir, as I said, we don't forget the issue. We are alive to situation, whatever problem. But I would like to clarify those basic things which needs to be, why it is still stuck, sir. Regarding residential school, again, sir, this much money and so much to be done. But I'm very happy, sir, that Honorable Chief Minister is kind enough to keep administrative approval for 55 crore, out of which 38 crore have been released, so that these schools could see the light of the day. But having said that, it's not very easy, sir. Still a long way to go. And regarding the issue of spreading education to all nook and corner of the state, I'm very happy that it is this government has its endeavor, not only one, not only 2, not only 3, not only 4, 9 People's College, Model Degree College of Patarkhma, Model Degree College of at Rongjeng, which no other government ever do this, but this government do this, which we have given the independent, of course, with the monitoring what they are doing to do, so that they will give the quality education to the people who need, to the student of those areas which they are catered. And having said that, People's College, it's not the changing of names, sir. What the previous comment said, community college. What is the meaning of community college? To give skills education. The college in Vayajer, what is it called? I don't remember, from Neho, it's a skill. Then if we want to start a college, it's not a community college. So what the previous comment sanctioned, what community college? I don't have a dictionary with me, because the dictionary of this community college is for skills. So we sanction People's College, sir. And we'll try to do more, sir. And regarding the issue which honourable member raised regarding the appointment of teachers, so we have for all along there is only ad hoc 59, 59, 59, 59. But this government, we have able to settle once for all at least the issue of this spending issue, so that the surety of those who qualify and the responsibility should be there. So we have done, and we will try to complete as I said that day, to complete the process for those posts which are still vacant. But sir, we also have some problem in the sense that there are some teachers whose application is still under scrutiny of the high-level committees, which that's why before doing anything, we have to see the implication also. But I hope that this issue we will sort out, as when that day when the honourable member from Salsala has mentioned about the Dinkiri, so that in the evening only we are doing, because there is no problem there. So we will try to do whatever it is needed to see that the education department, education sector in the state, it is become vibrant with a quality education. So with these few words, sir, I hope I could cover most, but for whatever I could not cover, I have taken note of it, sir. So with this word, I request the honourable member, the mover of this court motion, to withdraw his.
Now may I know the mind of the mover, please, of this court motion?
Mr. Speaker, sir, before.
Honourable member, please take a seat. I think I would like to regulate the time for the discussion on the voting on the demands for grants up to 2 o'clock. Yeah, Dr. Mukul Sama, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, before the mover of the cut motion conveys his mind, I'd like to just refer to only one point. Now, see, any infrastructure once created, as I have said, the government of India has always kept on changing their program after program. Infrastructures once created can be utilized for many purposes. If one particular program is discontinued, then subsequently the assets have to be created, number one. Number two is, Mr. Speaker, sir, when we allocate fund for any program, we indicate certain amount of justifiable token fund to start a program. Under various programs, if we look at the budgetary allocation, it is always, that is the practice. This much fund for this much project. Initial allocation will not be total. Initial allocation will be indicative of government's intent to carry forward the program. I think this one has to be very well appreciated when I have referred about certain programs where we have spent public money. If the government of India has discontinued, I don't know. But then infrastructures once created cannot be left as an eyesore. We can utilize it. It can be also converted into any institution which is not a standalone institution. So this is what I think the minister in charge should take cognizance of that, because public money is involved there.
Why not that, sir?
Make it short, please, because we have to take up other demands. Gracias.
Mr. Speaker, sir. So I'd like to thank the Minister in charge of Education for being very elaborate and has been able to touch upon almost all the issues that has been flagged during the discussions of the cut motion, sir. So therefore, I beg to withdraw, sir.